Awesome. All right. So we are looking at scaling your business. Now, I know most of you guys in this room are at the place of startup, where you're starting up your business. And that's the stuff that we were talking about last night, the market research, the ideal customer, all that stuff is in the startup coaching, the prosperity startup coaching, which is what you guys are in or what you're going to be in. But this comes out of the next level, prosperity growth coaching, for people who have businesses, but they want to scale their business. It's still important for us to keep in mind, because I want you guys to understand the shift that has to happen. This is how it works. When you're in the startup, you're learning who you are as an innovator. You're learning who you are as a business person. That's the place that we started with your Heavenly Father. He's an investor, he's a businessman, he left an inheritance for you, because you're learning about you and you're learning about what you're going to create. As you start to create it, when we've gone through the 7-day coach, as you start to create it, when it takes on a life of its own and produces fruit, is when you really realize, oh, that's what this is. You see what I mean? It starts to become even clearer. Even though we think we know what it is, it takes years before we really see what something is. Like, for example, you guys have been with me in Choosing the Spirit for these 17 years. Think about what it looked like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It was completely different than what it is now. It wasn't until we got to the truth center we were like, oh, this is what this is. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that's what this is. That's why we did all this other stuff, because all that culminates into this. And so the same thing will happen in your businesses. Now, when you get to that place where you start to do that whole, oh, this is what this is, and you got some level of success, God's going to say, now I'm going to bless you. Remember that from 7-day coach? Now I'm going to bless you. That's day 5. He starts to bless you that you can really have a harvest. And your real harvest comes from expansion. When you can multiply what you're doing, that's where the real harvest comes from. Because God's harvest is exponential. It's not just in one location, one little spot. It's not limited. His harvest explodes. That's a real harvest. And so when you get to the place where he's ready to bless you like that, then it's time to scale your business, and your mindset has to change completely. It's a completely different mindset, because you're going from, you've got, when you're starting a business, you got a baby. So the way you raise a baby is so much more different than the way you send off your kid to college.
Yeah. Wow.
You see what I'm saying? It's a completely different way. So you're still the same kid. You still love them. You're still developing them. You're still nurturing them, but they are at a different level, and they're about to take on their own complete identity. And now you got to nurture this, which is different than the way you nurture a baby. It's completely dependent on you.
Okay.
Yes. So you need to create milestones for yourself, or a tool to measure what. When I reach this point, then I know I've reached that milestone. So now it's time to implement new practices, right?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. And so this actually helps you to make all of these types of shifts. And so we're going to look at that. Like the very things you're talking about is exactly what we're going to look at. Because the challenge is, and we see this in all types of places, when people don't grow as a business grows, they wind up stifling. Like people, they talk about, some fish will grow as big as the tank that you buy. Wow. And that's so crazy that you would think, wow, why is its size limited to the tank? Because it's not going to grow to the fact where it pushes past the barriers that you have given it. And a business is the same way. Not only will it not grow past the barriers, you can actually cause it to shrink on itself and start to kill it, because it is trying to grow, but you're not preparing the environment for it to grow.
Wow. It's just, that's why some of the businesses I've gone in over the years, and like God said, they haven't invested nothing. They haven't invested back in the business,
right?
Because it's still the same way. It's still selling the same product. For example, Chick-fil-A. They got this teeny tiny kitchen. People standing outside the door. The chicken has not changed, but the growth of the population, because the area doesn't grow.
Yeah.
But they still in that teeny building, and everybody jammed up in there waiting for that piece of chicken.
That's a great example. That's a great example, because when you think about Chick-fil-A, they have some really good chicken. Like, it's really good.
Yeah.
And if you look at another company like Chick-fil-A, for example, Chick-fil-A's growth, you can't even stop it. Like you can't measure it, you can't contain it, you can't, because the business model is they're both good chicken. You know what I'm saying? But the business model that Chick-fil-A has is ever growing. It's ever changing.
But it's the mindset, right?
Because the mindset is growing with the business. Chick-fil-A's business model is not growing.
Because they could be huge too.
Because it could be huge too. Exactly. People would want it because it's such a great product. And even the name, in this community, we know that.
Yeah.
We know that's good chicken.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be great. And so it becomes so important that we get that mindset that allows us to grow with our business. And remember the way we're starting. You guys remember from yesterday, my business is not based on the products that I make. My business is based on meeting the needs of the people that I serve. So that means its growth potential is unlimited because people are always going to have needs. If Apple was only about an iPad, that's all they made, their potential would be limited. But they're looking at the people who use their technology, and whatever those people need, they make new stuff for us. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they're going to need this. Oh, they're going to need that. Oh, they're going to need this. And so, right, the innovation grows with our needs, so the business can always grow. Yes, ma'am.
So, like, constantly know what the industry is doing as far as health discoveries and new new products, but also new discoveries in the sense that, like for example, this is very controversial, but cannabis. That's the big thing now. And a lot of research is coming up about its effects on cancer and different things like that. And when clients and customers come to me and they ask me questions, I have to have that knowledge to educate them on what benefits certain things would have for them.
From cannabis.
Right.
Right, because she's in the health industry. Now, let's take it a step higher. Watch this. If you're watching the industry, right, the industry trends, the business is going to be here. Because the reason it's big in the industry now is because it has become legalized in some places. That's why it's big in the industry. But if you watch the customers, the innovation will be here. Because there were groups pushing for the legalization. They are way before it happened.
So because the focus needs to be on the needs of the customer. Focus on them, not the industry.
Right, if you watch the people, you would have seen cannabis way before the industry started doing it. You see what I'm saying? Because people have been pushing for it for a long time. And then you would have already been researching it and studying it. And how can I tell my customers, inform my customers, help my customers understand? The people actually guide the industry. And so if you want to be ahead of the industry, you watch the people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that was something that I have been doing. And in doing that, I discovered that the United States government actually has a patent for its medical use for cancer.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know that.
And that's
Can you say that again for my brain to process that?
The United States government actually has a patent for its cancer use. If there is proof that it helps with cancer.
Wow.
They have the patent. So that's why the law is the way that it is. It's a long.
It's a good story though. It's
Yeah,
good though.
yeah.
It's a good.
I can,
Okay,
like, okay, so you have products, you shared some yesterday, you had soap, and you had this syrup, the elderberry stuff, but because you're a researcher, some of your products could be informational products, they don't have to be all, because you're a researcher, you know what I'm saying?
That's what my mind is.
Like
You know what I'm
books.
saying, do the research and produce, whether it's a digital product or actual book,
Ebook.
or something like that. That's what I mean by digital product. And you could also market information and education as one of your products. Also, and but with the whole cannabis thing, I'm a good boss. But I invested in stocks. When I saw that Canada, it's legal, the whole of Canada, and they were doing things here, I started investing in stocks in medical marijuana because I didn't want to get involved in the recreational side, but I did also research on the medical benefits of it, and I knew it was going to be big, so I started investing in the stock market. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing it currently. I pulled out because I needed money, but it is, it's going to continue to grow. So, from the perspective that you're coming from, you can educate people so they can make a better decision.
Exactly,
You know?
and that's what I want to do. I want people to be able to have the information that they need and not just blindly say, oh, maybe I should try this or I should try
Yeah,
that.
have the confidence.
That's called
to-
functional nutrition. And biomedical intervention. So biomedically, how your body is set up, I can tell you what you need to do to keep yourself healthy.
That makes you the expert. And that makes you the person that I'm gonna come to for all
You
my
become an
stuff.
authority in that.
You see what I'm saying? You make yourself the expert, the authority on that. And we need you to be that person because people don't want to, I'll play Russian roulette with a few things in my life, but I don't wanna do it with my body. You know what I'm saying? Yes, ma'am.
I think there's industries, I don't remember the name one, but there's a company in Virginia Beach that does that. Cause somebody that I know went through, and they actually, like, they took blood and did all these other tests or something, and based on, what they found, that particular person is like, these type of foods, you should eat, these you shouldn't eat, and I think I have read something about that before, like, that is connected with your blood type. Some article or information that I had read before years ago.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But it is, I mean, people need, legitimate, individual, personalized information, because there's so much stuff out there.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just, it gets frustrating.
Yeah.
Coming from someone who's battled with the whole weight loss thing, it's like there's so much information out there. It's like, well, do this or do that, and don't do this and don't do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know where, it's like, I tried this for this season, but I can't really sustain it or this or that. It's crazy. So it's definitely something having that individual perspective and education and
And then certain things become a fad because people, they see everybody doing it, like the keto thing. That actually is a nutrition therapy for children with epilepsy. But now it's become a diet fad.
Wow.
And they making good money off
Hey,
of
Dr.
that.
Tamara.
I'm saying, you just do that thing. Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's what I was thinking about, she would own, if you did that, you'd be a brand within yourself. You'd have everything. It'd be a one-stop shop and you don't have to worry about it. And then people like them, that word of mouth would just be insanity.
Absolutely.
But I was gonna go back to with the hemp and the THC. I went to Walmart, they're selling that now. And they're even putting it in gel. They're putting hemp, because they were talking about the cancer, and they put it in gel, and I said, why?
Yeah,
I was
because
like,
hemp
what?
is
Crazy.
it's very therapeutic. Hemp by itself, without the THC, is very therapeutic. So, and even, one day I really want a hemp farm, because that can save us with textiles, save the land from being destroyed with cotton crops. You grow hemp, you can make clothes. I mean, all of the first things, if you think about colonial times, was made from hemp.
It was.
The paper, the clothes, their toiletries, all of that stuff was made from hemp.
Wow. So the educational part, I think I had answered this one. But the educational part would be a good idea for her to sell that as a product as well. Okay.
And even in free ways, like on your social media, some stuff you just share because you share it, because that creates the credibility. Whether they connect with your podcast, your YouTube channel, they're on your Instagram, and you're not giving a whole lot, but you're giving enough that people go, oh, she's talking about stuff I need to know about. And as they get enough of that, then they go, okay, I need to get her a report on this, I need to get her a report on this, I need to get her products on this, I need to get her recommendations on products to use for this. You see what I mean? Where you don't have to make products for everything. You start making these connections, you can make good recommendations, people trust you. So you build that whole credibility for yourself.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so, like on Instagram, right? You have an Instagram page and they may put posts up, maybe 3 posts a week, whatever, on a particular subject or topic, right? And they're not trying to sell you nothing, they're just educating you. But at a point, once you have developed a rapport with your audience and they're checking for you in your posts and all this stuff, at some point you give it value. So now they're more apt to, if you present something, a product or something, they're like, well, she was giving us value all along. She wasn't just trying to take from us.
Right.
So if now you promote something, a product on your social media or whatever, now that, you know, they're familiar with you. They feel comfortable with you. And it's all about relationship. A person will buy from you if they like you. You know what I'm saying? If they don't know you, you're just another person trying to sell something. So you got to develop that value, that rapport, that relationship first, and then you can present something to them that, you know, that you're marketing. You know what I'm saying?
All right, I do want to talk to y'all about scaling your businesses, which is what I started. We got this wonderful list, so. Didn't want to definitely, didn't want to stop that flow. But on page 12, this is, remember we talked about, most of you guys right now have babies. Page 12 is when your baby's about to go to college. Does that make sense?
Right. What point is it again?
That most of your businesses right now are babies. Some of them are kindergartners, you know. But this is for when your baby's ready to go to college.
Oh, okay.
Your baby has grown now. It has its own identity. You know what I mean? Some success is happening. It's got some growth. It's not completely dependent on you anymore. But there's still things you've got to do to set it up that it can flourish. And so this is when you start looking at scaling your business. And so what I'm going to do is you got to map out your success. How have we become this successful? Well, we started with building our brand, building our reputation. We connected with a customer base. We created products and services that met that customer base's needs. We continue to be on the cutting edge with our innovation. You know, all of that. We've got great marketing strategies. So all of that is going to be your map. And this space on page 12, the bottom of page 12, is where you actually map that out. Sure. That's all. So on the bottom of page 12, you're mapping out those keys to your success. We've done this, which led to this, which led to this, which led to this, which led to this. So these are your processes, the processes that your business went through in order to become successful. Because what's going to happen is after you do that, after you map out the processes that you have in place, you're going to have to then go to step 2, which is on page 13, and you now have to remove you have to extract yourself from this equation. Does that make sense? So if you're looking at your business and people are brought to a place of success, like for example, okay, we'll go through the Kingdom Wealth Map. You start with 7-Day Coach. 7-Day Coach is how you get introduced to Kingdom Wealth. But what does Kingdom Wealth do through the 7-Day Coach? It lets you know that God does have a purpose and a plan. God has a purpose and a plan. The next thing is that you got the discovering your divine design and all that stuff we did with the timeline and the truths and the falsehoods. All that's discovering your divine design. We got discovering your divine design. So now I need to know that not only does he have a plan, but he's got a purpose for me. You see what I mean? And now that need is met. Then we go into 5 different keys to unlocking wealth. Does he want me to prosper? Absolutely he does. He got 5 keys in the Bible to tell me how I'm supposed to prosper. Then we go to prosperity startup coaching. There is enterprise inside of me. That's the question. Is there enterprise inside of me? He wants me to prosper. How? Well, there's enterprise inside of me. What do I do with that? You got to build your business. Now my business is ready to grow, and I'm going to prosperity growth coaching, where we're doing this. This is what we do. We're growth coaching. These things I'm doing to you guys right now. Then you go to prosperity legacy coaching, where now my business has not only been successful, but it has been scaled. It's multiple divisions or multiple locations, and I'm trying to make sure that I leave a godly legacy. We got social programs or foundations or service projects. We got something that's also coming off of that business, and I can completely exit from it and retire or whatever I need to do, and I know that I'm leaving a legacy for my children and also for the world. That is the whole process of Kingdom Wealth. If somebody started with us from just point 0 and then they ended their life as a success, they will go through that process just like that. Now, at the point where we start doing this, I have to look at that process and go, how does all that happen without Markita? You see what I mean? Because at the beginning, you can't imagine any of that happening without Markita. But there has to be a point where Markita does not have to be there for all that to happen, which means that there's other coaches in place. There's this coach, there's she's coaching, she's coaching, you know what I'm saying? Other people are now coaching, where now I don't have to do the hands-on coaching myself. I don't have to do group coaching. I don't have to do the individual sessions myself. I don't have to do seminars myself. There are other people that have been trained, have been in place. Remember, that's the day forward. You got people in place, you train them, you put them in place. Those other people in place so that I don't have to even be involved in the operations of the business because everybody's in place. So if I have not yet removed myself from the equation when it comes to scaling, I have to remove myself from the equation. But the truth is, I can multiply the business. Can't multiply me.
Something like a franchise.
Yes. Right, exactly. It's a franchise mindset.
Yes.
I can't put me in multiple locations. I can try, it's not gonna work, but it's gonna fail if that's what's dependent on. I have to be able to map out the processes so that I can duplicate those processes in various places, and I can't be the person in those places. Which means if in location 1, I trained all these leaders, I gotta go to location 2, and I gotta do the same thing. I gotta be able to train leaders. Matter of fact, I gotta be able to train somebody who can train those leaders and raise up leaders and raise up people who coach and do these things somewhere else because I've set the model in the foundation of the organization. And that's where the mindset shift comes. Because even in parenting, like I've been a youth development director for 20 years, I've done all types of stuff for a long time. Youth development, 20 years. And in youth development, what you learn is that you learn how young people grow and how to develop. Which means that if you are a parent, if you're a teacher, if you're a coach, youth pastor, doesn't matter, your approach to a young person at different stages of their life has to be different.
Yeah.
The challenge that young people have with adults is that adults don't grow with the kids. You can't treat a kid at 15 the way you treat them at 8.
Right.
It's not possible. You can't discipline them the same way. You can't fellowship and react to them the same way. You can't set up values in the same way. You can't encourage them the same way. You can't train them in the same way. All of that has to shift. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so with your business, the same thing is true. Most people have a hard time letting go of their baby. But if you don't let go of your baby's going to die when it comes to business. Or you can kill yourself because you're trying to feed multiple people. You can't be. So you've got to get in the mindset that now this has to be bigger than me. I have to be able to walk away from this, or else I have doomed it to be dependent upon me. And when I die, it dies with me. You see what I mean? And so now in my mindset shift, where initially I was building a business based off of my strengths, my passion. You know what I mean? True me, right? True you. That's how I'm building at the beginning. Identity. And now I pull back. And it's not based off of my identity anymore. It's based off of its own identity, which it has now developed. You see what I'm saying? When they're babies, that's your child. And they do like you, and they wear clothes you wear, and they sit like you sit, and they drink the stuff you drink. And I'm like mama, or I'm like daddy. When they're older, they don't be done like you. They don't done you do.
Right.
You know it's in there. It's in there. They can't get rid of it. It's in there. But if you try to force it on them, what are they gonna do? They're gonna go the exact other way just to not be like you. You see what I mean? Because they're forming their own identity. Your business is gonna form its own identity. When it gets to that stage, you gotta back up. You gotta let it grow into what it's going to become.
I can really, I mean, I was afraid, like when I had my business, I had to hire employees and stuff like that, and I hired foremen and stuff like that. But I was always afraid that they weren't gonna do it the way I did.
Right.
And so I was kind of like, I didn't even micromanage, but it's kind of like this thing, the person's always over your shoulder,
Yes.
It's your account. You want to make sure that the client, you don't want to lose the account. So
Yes.
that was something that, what do you say to like, hiring somebody like that's a professional trainer to train your people, or would you say do it yourself, or?
That's a good question.
Or do you just communicate to the trainer what your
Values and goals are.
Yeah.
My suggestion, best case scenario, is that you do it yourself at the beginning. And the reason I say that is same thing with the baby. Like, I don't believe in nannies when they're preschool. The reason I don't believe in nannies when they're preschool is because the nanny is raising your child. Your child becomes a product of the nanny, not a product of you. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. When they are little like that, they're taking on their values, exactly. When they are little like that, you want them to take on your values. You want them to trust you. You want them to believe what you believe. You want them to have your strength. Any strength you have, you want to teach them that. You want to put it in them. You want them to care about those things. Now, when they get a little older, now you pass them on to teachers, and you pass them on to coaches, and because you got a value system that's in place. Same thing is true with your employees. Most people don't do this at the beginning because we have needs. As business owners, I need you to do a certain job. So I hire you and then I let you do the job. When the reality is one of the first things I should be doing is indoctrinating you into the culture of my business.
Right.
Which means if I am, and you had that cleaning business and you're meticulous and we've seen it all weekend, if that, from you, if that is your culture, when you bring people in, immediately they need to know what the standard is. They need to be learning that standard. Like this right here, that's not good enough. You see that? That's not good enough. You see that? That doesn't work. Most people wouldn't notice this. I notice this. I need you not just to notice it, but I need you to care about it. I need you to care about doing it this way, doing it that way. And when you do that, you're going to weed some people out. Because you're going to realize some people apply for jobs with your company because they need the job. But while you're weeding people out, you're going to find the ones that actually care about it. And those ones are going to be your original team. Later on, those people can train other people. You see what I mean? Because you have now put in them that value, and you know when you leave, it's going to be just like if you did it because they care about it just as much as you care about it. And we, like I said, we mostly don't do that because I'm hiring you because I need some help. And so I'm going to put you in place and put you to work, but you don't have my value system yet.
What happened was like with us, it's like it seemed like it grew overnight. And so we didn't have policies in place. We didn't have SOP, standard procedure, how we do this. So we had to create it on the go, like on the run. We was like, okay, we started seeing problems, like, okay, we need to add this into SOPs, and then we printed it up and then discuss that with them. But it was a learning curve we had to advance because, we had never done it before, and then it grew like overnight, and it's like we were thrust into it. You know what I'm saying? So.
And the beautiful thing is, when we start doing business this way, the kingdom way, we have that day one when nothing is happening. Meaning you're probably still in your other job. You're probably still doing blah, blah, but you have this in your heart. When you have that in your heart, God is going to say stuff like, start writing down your values to your business. And you'll be like, why? I don't have it yet. I'm working a job. You would negate that, but he'll put it on your heart. And you're like, why am I writing down the employee policies? I got no employees, but he will put that stuff in. I guarantee if you look back, he probably had put stuff on your heart way before. But you were thinking, I have no business. Why would I do this? But he does it because he knows when he sends stuff to you, you got time to do it. Does that make sense? And we often miss it because that's not the way the world tells us to do it. You see what I mean? We go, that's futile. I'm wasting time. I could be making money or I could be blah, 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 blah right now. And God's like, no, I'm trying to get you to set a good foundation because when stuff starts happening, I need you to have this already in place. And if we get that now, which is the whole point of the 7-day coach, and you get that's happening in your day one, and you're capturing that stuff before you ever go out and start telling people come follow you. You know what I mean? You're capturing all that stuff first. Now, when that starts to happen, those resources start to come in the day two. I've got some foundational stuff, and I'm not going to compromise on the foundation. I'm not going to send somebody on a project that I know they're going to do a substandard because I don't have nobody else right now. Because I've already set that foundation where I'm not compromising on our company. You see what I mean? And God sets that up that way. We don't. That's not natural for us. And it's certainly not what we see. But that's the way He sets it up. Yes, ma'am.
If you have, I think I have an opportunity at one of my jobs to actually train people. But the only reason I don't do it is because it interferes with the worship schedule that we have. Because that's one reason I didn't get the promotion was because of that. But in light of what we discussed about what I would want to do, I still see that as a good opportunity because the manager we had before, I did not like them, and I did pray they would go away. They did, and now we have a new. Hey, just being honest, and I was very happy about it. But now we have a new person, and she would love for me to be that. But that's the only reason I don't. But in light of what you said, that still would be a great opportunity for me to learn how to do that because when she's not there, I would be in charge of that if they needed that, if I got the position.
Right.
But my only reason I don't do it is because of that.
And that's when you pray. Because there are times when God will say, for this season, go ahead and do that. I need you to get that opportunity. And other times he'll be like, nope, I need you to be right here. Don't do it right now. I'm going to bring something else later. And he has to tell you which.
And it would go down to, I would have one job.
Interesting.
Yes.
That
I would have.
like
It doesn't. I know. because
She can barely come out of her mouth.
I know. To have one, but I thought because of the opportunity, because it's actually at the residential place, and that's a great opportunity to grow there if they see potential there. And that's why I still think that'd be a good opportunity with what we were talking about. Something to pray into anyway.
Absolutely, it's definitely something to pray into. And what I would encourage you is, if God puts you in that position or any position similar to it, you challenge yourself to be true to yourself. Because the best way to train somebody is to really train them out of you. You can't train somebody out of your facade or out of your one dimension, because you got to really give yourself to train somebody. Does that make sense? And I'm saying that to you because I know what your tendency is. I know they want me to tell you to do it like this, but I would do it. You can't train in integrity like that. You have to go, this is what they're saying, but my standard is higher, and I'm training you on this level.
Well, she actually gave me the opportunity. She wants me to redo all of our side work to be more specific to what our side work is.
Nice.
And and because I said, they should do this, this, and this, and because they didn't move a certain thing, and there was a lot of stuff in there. Like there was a pin in the freezer. I don't understand that, but there was a lot of stuff going on. And she said I wouldn't mind that, because she said because what used to be 2 jobs, she now is 1.
Yeah,
so she has to do all of.
That's
So now she has to do all of it. Now she has another head. I guess they're a head server doing it. But I'm not sure exactly what his title is, but he's supposed to help her with that. And one thing that she said that she didn't like is that people don't have the integrity that a lot of people bring outside, their outside relationships inside. She goes, I don't mind people having friends, but she had one incident that everybody was in everybody's business, and it just blew up to this this proportion. She was like, if people weren't just talking about outside stuff, we wouldn't have this problem.
We just have to deal with that.
And that's why one thing is they called me, they're like, if you want to be a server, you should be like Carol. And I was like, I would like to do that. And that's what I was saying, that I think that'd be a good opportunity.
I'm excited that you're excited about something like that.
No, my heart hurts because it'd be 1 job. My heart. I'm like, oh.
So, we got step 2. We understand removing you. Removing you is hard, but we know we have to do that. Step 3 is, remember the diagram that you would have created on page 12 that shows all your business processes? In step 3, you're going back and you're looking at these processes and you're making sure that all of them are sustainable. Does that make sense? So when you look at the earth, remember I told you the earth is God's business model. He created plants and trees and things like that, but he also created, the clouds, and you got the rain system, and you got the soil, and you got, evaporation, and those are 2 systems that are completely dependent upon each other. Does that make sense? And they're both sustainable because they're both renewable and they work together. So your business systems have to do that same thing. This process has to work well with this process, has to feed back into that process and sustain itself so that they keep going without you having to interject new stuff. You got the process that's running. Every process has to be set up like that. And initially, all your processes won't be set up that way. Okay. So when you go back and you look at them, you'll go, okay, I got to change this process. Because it's not automated. It's not continually renewing. If I don't plug this in each time, it shuts down. You see what I mean? And for growth, you can't have that. They got to be able to keep going. Yes.
Okay, so in that, when you're saying about the systems, for tangible things, like the tangible products that I have, I would have to teach people my recipes in order to...
You would have to have somebody who is not you who can make them. And eventually you might want to become even more automated than that. Where the ingredients are coming in. Somebody's doing this with them. Somebody's doing this with them. Somebody's packaging them. Somebody's labeling them. Somebody's shipping them.
Like a small one.
Yeah. That's going to be necessary for growth. Otherwise, because you can't do all that. And we already took you out. You see what I mean? You're already out of the equation. So clearly, there got to be processes and systems that just continually function, continually run.
So then that brings in a whole other whole other set of things that put in place because you want, non-compete agreements and privacy agreements as far as proprietary.
Absolutely. And it's good for you to think about these things now. You see what I'm saying? You're not going to be doing them yet, but it's good to be thinking now because as you grow, these things will be putting them in place now. Y'all remember, a long time ago, I had y'all sign those photo consent and video consent. That was years and years ago.
You signed that?
Oh, yeah, that was,
awesome.
there were quite a few pictures. You were like, I didn't tell you to put that. I said, yes, you did. In 2003, you signed the
I know when you first,
back before we had a website. You signed it.
that was a long time ago.
You see what I mean? So you're thinking about this before you need it. You see what I mean? So these things come out in the home. But that was good. He told me to do it. And I didn't need him then. But later on when I did need him, I had to go back and ask each one of y'all to give me your consent. Because when you don't, you gotta go back, you gotta take people's faces out, you gotta blur them, you gotta do this, you gotta no, we already got consent. Let's go. The next thing you have to do is you gotta duplicate these systems. You gotta duplicate the systems in your new locations or your new niches or whatever you're doing. They gotta be able to be duplicated. And then lastly, you gotta be able to exit the company. And your exit strategy can look like lots of different things. You can sell the company to a bigger company. Like Facebook is buying up everything that's social media.
Disney's trying to buy up Fox now.
Exactly. So the bigger companies buy those small ones. You can do that because it'll keep your baby going. You know, Disney bought Pixar. Pixar's still going, but it's going under something they can sustain. That works.
Lawrence won 7th generation.
See, but see, you see what I mean? It can do it. You got to make sure it matches up with your values and stuff. See, that's the challenge. It has to match up with your values. Because some people buy stuff so they can destroy it. So you want to be careful because it's your baby. If someone buys it, they got to be able to sustain it in an agreement with your vision, or you can kill your baby. You don't want to kill it. You see, that's why I said that. But you don't want that for your business. You see, it's not just about the money. It's about what you're doing in people's lives. Remember, we care about service. So right, I don't want the service to stop or to change, or for them to use my name, my label, my reputation, and then they're doing something different that I would not have done to the customer base that I've now built this trust with. You see what I mean? So you want to be careful of that, but you could sell. You could do that. You could have a strategic buyer, meaning a person that you know that cares about what you care about. They pretty much just come in and they replace you. They become the owner. Maybe a silent owner, but they become an owner that you know is going to have the same values. You can hire an executive director who now directs everything, or a CEO, somebody else that then comes in and directs everything that's not you. You can take the company public, and that is public stocks, and it's going to have to become, if it wasn't a corporation, it's got to be, because now it's got to have a board of directors and things like that. So now it has an oversight that's not you. You can bring your kids in, let your kids run it. Part of your legacy. You see what I mean? You can bring in a new management team to come and run it. There's lots of different things that you can do, but you want to think about where you want your business to go when you go to Hawaii or when you go to meet the Lord. What do you want your business to be doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, where do you want your business to be, and who can help take it there? What process will help take it there? And the exit strategy is basically, how do I shift from me being who I am, the founder and whatever, like Kingdom Wealth, I'm founder and CEO, whatever it is, you're founder and whatever. How do I shift from that position to this other person or people now leading it, and me being able to rest, knowing that the vision is still going to go forward? That's your exit strategy. And you create the exit strategy while you're scaling the business. We do this in growth coaching, not in legacy coaching. Legacy coaching is kind of too late. Like I was talking to Nikki about that last night. You don't buy insurance when you're 85. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could, but that's not the way you're supposed to do that. You see what I mean? The whole point is that you get that earlier, because that thing's in place, and now you got the security of knowing that it's in place. Yes.
But can you, within the contract, you know, if you decide to cash out and sell, can you structure the contract so that way, you know, there's in place that, okay, I'm selling you this, but because this is what the company has represented for X amount of years, we want to uphold to that standard. So if you want to buy this, this is a stipulation that you have to uphold to this standard. If you don't agree to it, don't buy it.
Absolutely, and in that case, there's got to be some type of governing board that's going to ensure that.
Well, I mean, it's a legal document, it's a legal.
It is a legal document, but if you're dead, who's gonna say they didn't do it and who's gonna take them to court? That's why I said there has to be some governing body that's paying attention as to whether or not.
Who could do that? Like, if you, God forbid, passed away, what?
Board of directors?
The board of directors. So in which case, if somebody else bought it, let's say you had a different type of entity, maybe an LLC partnership or co-op or something like that. You had that. Later on, you want to sell it. My suggestion is you shift it to a corporation first. Right, now it has a board of directors, and the board of directors is going to oversee it, make sure that the CEO is staying true to it, and it will be a part of that person's contract that in order for you to keep leading this company, each year at our annual meetings, we're going to make sure you're sticking to the integrity of the provision. You see what I mean? Because if there's no governance over that stipulation, people nullify contracts all the time, and nobody's watching it. You know what I'm saying? And so somebody has to be watching it. And the point is, it can't be you watching, because you're either in Hawaii or you're in heaven. So somebody other than you has to watch and make sure they're doing that. Because then you really, if you're the one that's got to watch, you didn't really do it.
I'm so ready.
But does that make sense, everybody? Okay, good. So we are going to take a break, and we're going to shift back to you guys' businesses. We got 3 we're going to do, and so we're going to do Rose business. Yeah, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and do you guys' businesses, and then lastly, we'll talk about leaving a